So changing the GasGas fork seals. It's a 1994. So the best thing to do is, before you take it out of the fork yokes, undo this top cap first, back that off so that's loose, and then undo your bolts, because trying to undo that whilst you're holding it on the bench just doesn't happen. So yeah, undo that, back them off. There is a little bolt right at the bottom, you can undo that as well. Don't undo that all the way because all the oil will come out. So yeah, just undo it so you can undo it easier when it's on the bench. So you want to get as much oil out of this as you can. I'll just put the tray on the floor and undo this bolt, then we can pull the spring out. Make sure you hold the spring at the bottom of the stanchion. So if you undo this bolt and you're not holding it, the spring will drop on the floor. So keep hold of the spring and everything should pull out at the bottom. Or the top, if it's the right way around. So just pump it a couple of times and a lot of the oil should come out of it. So yeah, just compress the spring, you'll see the oil billowing out in a minute. There you go. Turn it over, pump it again, you'll see it squirting out of the bottom. We're just trying to get as much as of the old oil out as we can. And you want to give everything a good clean. Try and make sure you get all the old oil out. This is nasty stuff, this. It's not been changed for a long time, this oil. It has been done before because the fork seals that are in it, they're not the original seals. So then I'll just put the tray in the corner, let it stand there for a bit whilst I do the rest of the work. So now you just want to take your punch, give it a few light taps. There is a special tool for this. There will be people cringing. But if you take your time with it and you can't damage it. And what I sometimes like to do is I like to wrap it with a rag and get a G-cramp, tighten a G-cramp round it, and then you can turn the G-cramp. It's hard to explain, but I'll just pull the dust seal off. They are on quite tight. There we go. Now you can see the seal, and look at all that gunk in there. So yeah, they've not been changed for a long time, these seals. The forks were actually bottoming out. If you compressed it whilst it was in the bike, it did bottom out. So now if you pull the stanchion, give it a few good pulls, it'll come out. So you can see the bushes there. There's a copper bush, and then there's a steel bush at the bottom. I think it's steel, but I'm not going to be changing them because they don't make them anymore. I'm sure I'd be able to get some if I took them off and measured them, but they're in quite good condition. So yeah, I like to get the old oil and then pour it back into a measuring jug, just to check how much has leaked out and how much it's lost. So what I'll do, I'll just put this tray in the vise and then just let it sit there for a bit until it's all drained out. Then I can check what it's at. But it looks pretty low, this. I think it's lost about 100 millilitres. 100 cc. So yeah, it has lost quite a bit, that one. That is the right hand fork stanchion. So yeah, it's lost a lot, that. That's where it should be. 330 millilitres it should be at. So I'll let that drain for a bit and then we'll come back to it. So I'll just give everything a good clean. You want to make sure everything is spotless. Give it all a good spray with disc brake cleaner or carb cleaner or whatever you've got. There is a big O-ring seal inside that, which you can change it, but it seems it's in good condition. Has a bit of grease on it, just ready for popping the seal in, because they are quite tight, the seals. So I'll get a bit of grease on the seal as well. So you can just tap them in with a big socket, but I've got a bench press, which makes it a lot easier. So you can see the spring inside the seal, that wants to be facing down, and the letters and the writing wants to be facing up. So we'll get that in there and just press the seal in. It doesn't need much. Not on the 10-ton press anyway. There we go. She is in. Just checking it's pushed in all the way. Looks pretty good. Now you can get the circlip. Pop that back in. A bit fiddly. So now you want to put the stanchion back into the, once everything's clean, you've gone over it all, put the stanchion back in. And there is like a bush driver that you can buy, but what I use, which fits absolutely perfectly, is a piece of 1.5 inch plumber's waste pipe. So it's just a piece of pipe that will come from your kitchen sink. So that's 1.5 inches, that is. I think it's about 43 millimeters. So you want to just give it a few good whacks. I could do with a longer piece of pipe, because it is quite tight, but it will go eventually. Just keep whacking it. So it's not the best filming this. A little bit more to go. You'll sort of, you can feel it stop. You can hear the sound changes a little bit. Nearly there. One big one. Come on. I think that's down. The sound changed a little bit. So I'll blast a bit of grease on these threads. Just make that top cap easier to screw on. So I'll screw this on by hand, and then what I like to do is put it all back together in the bike. And once it's in the bike, I'll get the, like I was saying before, I'll get the cramp around it with a rag and wrench it up, but I'll show you how I do that. Or you can just reverse what you did with the punch and tap it around, but I like to break that seal with the punch, and then just tighten it up with a cramp. A bit of grease for the dust seal to go on. And just pop that into place. You'll feel it clip. And there you have it. I'll just give everything a final wipe down. It's been stood up in the corner, this draining out. So now I'll top the oil up. I think I'll do so yeah, 330 millilitres you need, 330 cc. So yeah, slide that back inside your stanchion. And then you can put the bolt back in underneath. Make sure the bolt's clean. There is a little crush washer on the bottom of the bolt, so you should replace them really, but they never tend to leak as long as it's cleaned up and tightened back up. So yeah, make sure you screw that in before you put the oil in, otherwise you'll just lose your oil on the floor. So yeah, just nip it up. Then you can pour your oil down the top. You can just slide your stanchion up and down a couple of times. You'll hear the oil moving around inside. And then you can screw your cap back on. she's pretty much done. So they are pretty straightforward, these forks. Then you want to check your rebound and your compression on the top of the fork legs. Feels much better. And before, when I put this one on the floor, I could bottom it out. If I push down with my weight, I could, yeah, it sort of hit its stop point. Right, so now we can put it all back together. So I'll speed everything up. So yeah, you want to set your torque wrench to about 10 foot-pounds. You don't want to be doing it too tight. I think 10 foot-pounds is enough. So I'll get the wheel in. So I'll nip that up, then put the caliper on. I'll spin the wheel a couple of times and pull the brake, and it should centre it up. And then you can tighten up your pinch bolts at the bottom of your fork leg. So yeah, don't tighten your pinch bolts up first. Spin the wheel a couple of times and slam the brake on so it centres itself. So I'll get this mudguard on. A bit fiddly. Trying to get a washer and the nuts around the back of it. So yeah, let's get the bike on the floor and have a feel what it's like. So yeah, this is how I like to tighten them up. So just want to wrap a rag around there a few times. And then get a G-cramp. You can push that round. So the rag should grip it. There you go. You can really... Oh, that's tight. It's as tight as it's going. There's no damage. So you can do the same on the other side. Just look past. So yeah, wrap your rag around. See, that one's quite loose. So you might have to undo it a couple of times and just move it around. It will hit the wheel at some point. Quite loose, this one. I thought I tightened it up more than what it is. Last one. There we go. That's plenty tight enough. Give everything a good clean. There you have it. Forks serviced. So I'll give this back to Jack now. Jack, who owns it. So I've done a few bits to this. Got the clutch working. We've got the front brake working. Needed a few parts. To replace a few of these internals. So front brake's working. Had to fix the back brake because that was all wobbly. There was a bush missing out of it. I've had to put a new bolt in. It's not the right bolt, but it's the closest one I could find to get it to work. So yeah, that's done. We've realigned the rear wheel, set the chain tensioner. What else have I done to it? Rear wheel bearings. Oh, we've done the linkage bearings. So yeah, we've changed the brake fluid on the front and the rear. We've changed the clutch fluid. So now I'm just going to drop the oil, and Jack can have it back. Quite a tidy little bike, to be honest. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully it's helped you out if you want to service your own forks. So they are quite straightforward on these GasGases. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. Peace out.